Ken Rashad at the 2024 SWAC Football Media Day. We are joined by Executive Director of the Celebration Bowl, John Grant. John, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to me.
Thank you for having me, Ken.
No problem. Now look, in all fairness, I know I've been somewhat critical about the recent decision for the Celebration Bowl to move the Celebration Bowl a week before the first week in December as opposed to the second week in December. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak, so just wanted to keep it fair. But for me, I've always argued about so-called safety of the players and so forth. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but just kind of take us through the decisions. We all know that it was related to the college football playoffs and so forth, and we understand the enormity of that. But just talk about the difficulty to make that decision to move it from the second week to the first week.
Well, I wanted first, the team at ESPN, the leadership team, called me early and said, hey, this was back in February, that we all knew because the CFP had already announced when the dates of the expansion was going to be and the games that were going to be played on the date that we were. So to find the best option that would be, I would say, from my goal was how do we protect the enterprise? How do we position this event in the best possible way to give it a chance to continue to thrive and grow? We start first by looking at venue. When is the venue available? And looking at options for that. The next thing was, once we looked at that, all right, we wanted to make sure we protected the ABC network window. We wanted to make sure that we retained the position that the game opened the bowl season. Those are things that are valuable to this game that helps the game to continue to thrive and grow and generate revenue for our conferences and the participating institutions. So we looked at a number of things. We looked at options that said, well, what if we had the game on Friday, but it would have to be played at 11 a.m.? Well, that doesn't work. Well, what if the game goes and moves around Christmas? Well, we know that doesn't work because our fans are going to be with families. So they're not going to come to a Christmas Eve game, travel, or even the day after. What if the game were January 2nd or 3rd? Well, that doesn't work because number one, the venue was not available, but also you have to keep kids on campus longer, which costs our universities a lot more money. So then you look that side. Now let's look back the other way. We couldn't go earlier in the week that we're in.
Right, that was one of the options that a lot of people considered. Maybe doing it maybe on a Wednesday or Thursday.
That's not available to us because the stadium was not available. The Georgia High School championships are booked into that from that Sunday all the way to Wednesday. We take the stadium over on midnight Thursday morning. So the stadium's not available. So now we're back to the week before, the Saturday before, and let's look at what's there. Well, we can achieve a lot of the objectives by going there. Number one, we open bowl season, important for this game. Number two, we preserve the ABC time slot, important for this game. Number three, we're out of the throes of competition because on that Saturday we were on, you have 3 CFP playoff games, 2 NFL games now. Ravens against Pittsburgh, and you had the Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl champions, against the Texans. So that's not going to work for us, which is going to be a little bit tough even for the CFP games going against the NFL on that day. So it leaves us with the option of, okay, how do we achieve the objectives? How do we position our Super Bowl, our game, in the best possible position for it to thrive and grow? And that was the great opportunity that presented itself to us. The other benefit is the only game on that day was Army-Navy. Army-Navy has a great game tradition, games at 3:30 on CBS. We're at noon, we're on ABC, so there's no conflict there, but the added benefit we get is that we also get to draft off of College Game Day, which that's their last show of the season before the national championship game. So the College Game Day runs from 9 until 12. They'll be broadcasting live from the Army-Navy game, but guess what? Who are they talking about on that day? Celebration Bowl, which is opening bowl season. And we get to draft off of that, which does the other thing we need, increase our viewership. So when you lay out all the scenarios, that's the logical decision for us. Now we go to, once we have that, let me go now talk to coaches. So I called the coaches from both conferences who participated in the game, and they're, to get their input. At the end of the day, what we like about coaches, what I do, is that, look, tell us where the game is.
Who were some of those coaches?
The ones who participated in the bowl game.
Okay.
And on both sides.
On both sides. Okay.
On both sides. So we wanted to make sure we understood from their point of view. The great thing is on the SWAC side, they have a bye week before the SWAC championship, with the exception of Southern, Grambling, and Alabama State. There's a bye week. But now, Southern and Grambling have a bye week before the Bayou Classic. So there is relief there, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So when you look at all the factors, how do we protect the enterprise? How do we make sure we put it in a position to thrive and grow in an expanding environment? And the expansion is not over for CFP. In 2 years, they'll probably go to 16 teams. What we're hoping, though, is that 16 doesn't expand backwards to where we are, but we don't know. So that's what our rationale was. It wasn't someone that said, hey, this is what you're going to do. That's not the case at all. And I think I've heard that ESPN dictated it. Absolutely not.
No. Really?
What ESPN did was, John, we're going to let you look and help find us a solution.
Okay.
And what we want to do, or if you want to keep it on ABC, it's going to have to be a time slot, or look what the time slots are. If not, they'll put the game on ESPN. They'll put it on ESPN2.
Right.
But our position, Ken, was to really make sure that we put our Super Bowl, let me say that again, our Super Bowl in the best possible position to continue to drive and thrive and grow. People will adjust. Okay. We always do. But you can't lose sight of the opportunity in a complex situation, that if we're trying to meet the needs of a few and overlook the needs of the many, and then you end up wondering, well, why did that happen? Well, it was based on your own decisions or lack of willingness to change and grow. And we have to be that in this space. You know that in media, the landscape in college football is very fluid right now. And we as fans, and those of us who are in the space to try to make sure we do what we can to protect what we're building for our institutions, have to make decisions that not are necessarily popular, but they're in the long-term interest of the enterprise. And that enterprise is driving revenue to our institutions.
So for those loyalists, those who have been accustomed to attending the Celebration Bowl, being acclimated to the festivities, is there any reason to think that things might be any different now that it's being moved a week prior? I mean,
no, it just means it's going to be a lot more excitement. And you know what the excitement is? On the SWAC side, fans are going to be coming out of the SWAC championship. They're going to be excited, geeked up. We have worked with our hotels to extend the booking window to when they can book rooms into that week to accommodate that. And look, we're going to do what we do. We always adjust. People told me, Ken, in the beginning, when we launched the Celebration Bowl, people are not going to come to a noon game. Our fans don't go to noon games. Well, and so I'm absolutely convinced, without question, that this move is going to be ideal for us, and what people are looking at that they think are going to be challenges are going to end up as opportunities for us.
Okay. John Grant, Executive Director of Celebration Bowl. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.